what we're working on now is just like, all right, well, we still have what we think, and what a lot of people, to be honest, think is a really good script for The Last Vacation.
Yes.
So we're continuing to pursue some of the leads that we had before we were, in that time period that we were fundraising like really hard. And then we also figured like, well, we already spent the time developing these characters. What if we just took those characters and wrote them into a simpler story that we could produce that wouldn't cost so much money that we would have to look outside of our immediate circle? So how do we stay creatively nimble and autonomous, but with the same? Because I figured like, well, most of the time writing a script is, probably most of the time spent writing a script is spent on developing just who these people are, and we'd already done that. So now let's just put them in a new scenario, or a slightly tweaked scenario. And so I think, the hope is that come end of this summer, we'll be shooting one or the other.
Yeah. And so we've taken the iteration that it is now, we've submitted it to Sundance Institute, we've submitted it to the IFP, Emerging Narratives, we've, submitted it to Nichols. We've taken it because we have a really great script, finished product already. And so,
1 in 5,000 odds.
And we know that script at some point will get made, that version of the script.
Yeah.
It may not be now when we think, but it's better to do it right than to rush it. And so if we can't do it now, we will make a feature this year. We just may make a different version of it. We may pare it down, make it a different story, and we can still make the version we have now later.
Yeah.
And so, we have most people still on board, and might as well just, make it and really get back to like we did with Summer Home, where it's just small crew, small cast, and we just all, kind of really there to be for the creative process, and we still want to pay people. So that's what we're gonna do.
When you hit your kill date and you knew it wasn't going to happen, was it like a sucker punch sort of feeling?
Yeah.
Or was it more of a you would become resigned?
That's an interesting question, actually. Well, I'll tell you, like, after it happened, it felt like a sucker punch, even though it was definitely like a ramp up to it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it came out of the blue. We kind of had those. I don't know it's just like when you're sitting and you realize that something terrible is gonna happen, you get that shiver up your spine. Like we had that, but we just had to suppress it for our own sanity's sake and our own. Because it's like, how do you run a rehearsal if you're constantly like every other word out of your mouth is, well, it might not happen, but let's do it anyway. So we just had to fake until we made it. Kind of was the approach at that point. And so when it did happen, I'll be honest. Lindy's mom was kind enough to invite us up to her place in Camino and get us drunk for 2 days. So
we escaped,
exactly.
We told we wrote an email and we told everybody, how incredibly, that this was happening this way, and it was hard for us because we are people that pride ourselves in being the people that follow through. If we say we're going to do something, we do it, and so it was really hard to say that we couldn't do it, and so we escaped for a couple of days and just. But that was good, and too the day that it happened, actually, I got kidnapped from work by friends, and they just everybody rallied around us and said, it happens to the best of us, it's still going to be okay, and so we just kind of took a couple days and we regained and came and we started thinking about ideas of, okay, now what now? What do we do now? How do we move forward? And it was great because so many things have opened up. We just said, okay, it happened, so we're still going to be as creative as possible. It's not going to stop us from being filmmakers. And so we have on schedule now, because of Last Vacation pushing, we just filmed a short this weekend. We have another one on tap for this summer. We're going to film a feature this fall, and then we have another idea for another short this winter. So this year we will have, instead of just doing one feature, we'll have created 3 shorts and a feature. So I don't know, I think that's almost better. So and these are just things that came out right after we made that decision to push. We just had people contacting us, and they were like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 5 years, but I have this idea and I really want you guys to direct it. And I just I just think the universe was trying to tell us that just because it's not the way we thought we wanted it to be doesn't mean it has to derail anything that we want, and it actually can be better.
Well, and that was, it was a beautiful opportunity, I think, that presented itself just with Summer Home. That, well, I guess I just get into the backstory behind that is that,
it's kind of like it's grieving through doing something positive.
Yeah.
You know, it,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
totally
yeah.
presented itself, and it said, "Hey, let's get through your pain by channeling it into
Yeah.
another project." And
Yeah.
and so it just gave us. It was
Yeah.
like just gave us that creative energy back, and we knew we had it, and we were going to do it, and nothing was going to stop us, and it just kind of like buoyed everything rather than let us go spiral down into depression.
Yeah, yeah, but we had so in the last vacation we had somebody cast to play one of the roles, and she got really busy producing her own film, which is I don't know the exact budget, but it's a like multi-million-dollar thing shooting in Missouri or something.
Missouri, yeah.
And she just got taken over by that project,
Yeah.
which is totally understandable. And so then when we went to recast, Wonder decided to come in and audition, and she totally like blew our freaking minds, like with
Yeah.
what she brought into that audition. And so then we just started talking about like, what did, you know, how did you interpret this character? And she started telling us about some of the backstory stuff that she had come up with. And Lindy and I both looked at each other like, holy shit, that would make a good movie. And she was like, okay, and then she wrote it. and then gave it to us, and we were like, wow, this could be a really, really beautiful, really poetic, elliptical-ish. I honestly, I kind of, at this point, I don't know what it may turn into in the edit room, because I just had some ideas today looking at the footage of like really getting quite experimental with the editing style. So I'm like, well, I don't know yet. But it's just, yeah. So that even came out of sort of the ashes of Last Vacation came what I think is going to be a really pretty remarkable little film.
Yeah, yeah.